guys, Christian the Haver Cardman here, coming back at you with another deck profile this week, bringing you my updated Prank Kids list for the February format. Once again, I'm not going to include side deck because that is totally up to you guys. Use side deck and hand trap however you feel fit. This is something I brought up on JS Cards channel, so I'm not going to be like filling out the side deck for you guys because once again, that is subject to change. I want this deck to be a little bit more long lasting than that. But of course, I'm going to continue to do updates to it because I find new text to this deck all the time, and I absolutely love Prank Kids. But before we get into this deck profile today, guys, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button down below so you guys can get future content like this, as well as some deck reviews, which I promise I'm working on some in the background. I got some going right now for you guys. Those will be out soon, as well as other content. Trying to keep it weekly. I am going to be live streaming Monday nights, either on my channel or the Coalition of Scrubs, which you can also go check out the Coalition of Scrubs and all the other members involved down below if you want to go check all them out and subscribe as well. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this deck profile today. So starting off with the monsters, traditional, got to run 3 of every copy. I do this for like every type of build. Doesn't matter if it's pure Prank Kids, if it's Thunder Prank Kids, if it's Adamansa Prank Kids. I'm running 3 copies of all these bad boys all day long because it's what keeps the engine so consistent, it's what keeps it so powerful, and so grindy. Like, this deck can combo, it can grind, it can do whatever you need it to, all because you maxed out on all 3 copies of each of these guys, giving you a total of 12 Prank Kids monsters. Just makes the deck super crazy. And I actually do end up going through all 3 of these almost every time I duel, but of course there's a way to shuffle them back into the deck and recur resources, so that's good too. Next up here, we are running triple copies of Parallel Exceed, because this is a really good extender for us. We're not playing like the Trap Chicks Rafflesia package or anything like that. It's not really an option to bureau anyways, because by the time you get the Rafflesia, you've already had 5 summons. So this is mostly just to get the extra link material. We usually use it for like our Verte Anaconda, so we can keep our Prank Kids dedicated to their combo. And I'll show you why we do the Verte later on. And it's not Dragoon. Don't worry, we don't play Dragoon in this deck. That's just not fun, to be honest. Next up here, we are playing the triple Gamma package with the 1 copy of Driver, just because Gamma is a super good hand trap this format, with everything activating in the hand, but this guy still being able to stop it. And if we end up having to do it on a standby phase to out a Calamity, then we have 2 more free link materials, which is just awesome. Alright, so next up here, for hand traps, we are running the triple copy of Ash. Excuse the different rarities here, the different versions, but it's just what I had lying around. So yes, we are playing a triple copy of Ash, because this is almost always a good hand trap, and just very versatile in like so many situations. So that's actually it for our hand trap lineup, but once again, you can play more since this is Prank Kids, and this deck is like super consistent just in general. So if you add in more hand traps, like, it's not really gonna hurt. And I think as of right now, this is a 44 card list. I'll probably do a count towards the end and like try to figure that out for you guys. But moving on to the spells, we are playing the triple copies of Prank Kids Place with 1 copy of Terraforming, essentially giving us 16 means to open up with a Prank Kids monster, which is just absolutely insane. The amount of consistency this deck has, I actually haven't looked at the percentages of how likely it is for you to draw 1 or more copies with 16 in the deck, but trust me, it's insane. So up next, we are only running 2 of the Prank Kids Pandemonium, because it is searchable, but we want to keep the backup in case 1 gets banished, because DD Crow is popular right now, and we don't have to don't want to have to worry about this being in our graveyard getting banished when we're trying to add it back with the Doodle Doodle Doo. So always run this at 2 copies so you have a backup plan. And then the 1 Prank Kids Pranks. This is once again searchable, but it's not nearly as important as the Pandemonium. It's like purely as an extender and can get you back a little bit of resources during the end phase, but overall it doesn't really come up all that much, but when it does come up, it's good to have. Next is triple copies of Thunder Dragon Fusion, because if we can't get to that Verte, we really want to open this up, or even if we do get to that Verte, it just means that we've got like plays all day long, so we can use all of our Prank Kids monsters for other stuff, and then just be able to use this to bring out our Battle Butlers, which is absolutely insane. Next up here, we do run the 2 copies of Polymerization, because if we can open this up with 2 Prank Kids monsters, it is like, it's game. It's just absolutely ridiculous combos, and it'll net you so much advantage. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what else to say about it. That's all there is to it. And of course, triple copies of Dark World and No More. I know a lot of the big strategies have been playing Union Carrier with, I think it was be Buster Drake was the spell one, so that they could play around this Forbidden Droplets, but there's still plenty of boards we could break with the Dark Ruler no more, and if we have that opportunity, trust me, I'm going to take it, because, yeah, this deck kind of needs it. If we can't combo off going second, which we prefer to go first, but if we have to go second and we can't combo off because there's a board in our way, this guy does help out a lot. Next up, onto the traps now, we are running the 2 copies of Pranksters Plan, because, once again, good to have a backup plan. This really just helps you have much more grind game, because after you get rid of the first one, you still have a second copy to back you up later to shuffle back more resources, or you can always use one in the graveyard to banish, and then the other one to link summon during your opponent's turn. So either way, it's really worthwhile running it 2. I mean, there's certain variants you can play that might make it worth running at 3, like say if you're playing Eldritch, then maybe you can consider running it at 3, but to be honest, I just like it at 2. So, and lastly here for the deck are actually my spicy techs that I've added recently. 3 copies of Fu Ring Kazan. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right at all, but this is actually a really hilarious tech for this deck that is either going to net you so much advantage or give your opponent so much disadvantage. So yeah, it could either be Harpy's Feather Duster, it can destroy it, or it could be a Raigeki, it could be a Pot of Greed, or it could be a Delinquent Duo. Like, this is just so free for this deck, because literally all you have to do, like, even if you just do the Battle Butler combo that plays around Nibiru, that is still full setup for this card, because once you get out of Battle Butler, there's your Wind attribute, and then with your Fansies, Dropsies, and Lampsies, you'll special summon out a Roxy's, another Dropsies, and another Lampsies, and then that is all 4 of your attributes right there to activate this guy. So you easily have access to this during your opponent's main phase, at which point you could definitely make them discard 2 cards if you really want to, just to make them immediately lose those 2 cards right off the bat, or you can wait and let them establish a board, like say before they go into battle phase or before you use your Battle Butler, you can flip this guy and like destroy their back row. But overall, this card is just actually insane, and I think people kind of underrate it for Pranksters. I know it's a little bit slow because it is a trap, but if you're setting up turn 1, this is great. And if you know that you're going second in games 2 and 3, you just side this out immediately for whatever else you need. So totally worth it, I think. You guys test it out, let me know how you feel. I actually just got these in today, but I've been testing them online for a while, and I actually love this card. So let's go ahead and get onto the extra deck now before I stall on for too long. So starting off with Link Monsters, of course, the 2 copies of Pranksters Meow Meow Mew. Don't really need it more than this, but definitely needed at least this, because you're probably going to banish that first copy like right away for that Battle Butler, or Ripper or Roaster if you get that out, just to replace the Tribute. So I definitely recommend having 2 of these guys. And then, of course, 2 Dodo Doodle Doo. Once again, same thing as the Pandemonium. Always like having that backup in case something happens to the first one, or sometimes I'll even end up going into both of these on turn 1, believe it or not. There is a reason for that. It's just sometimes like how your board turns up. If you end up only having 1 card for combo and you don't have any extenders in hand, sometimes it's just what you gotta do. And of course, 1 copy of Pranksters Bow Wow Bark. This guy you can recur easily enough. He's not like as important to the deck, but he is still pretty valuable. Don't get me wrong, it's definitely worth playing him, but he's not like as necessary as Doodle Doodle Doo. You're fine to just recycling him, and if he gets banished, like, I guess you just gotta live with it. But there's just not nearly as much room in this extra deck. So next up, we are playing the IP Masquerena. We do have a good target for this later on in the extra deck. You guys will see that. I think this card is actually just hilarious in general in Pranksters, because there's a lot of fun potential you can have with this card, given how many bodies you can just like spam out. Alright, so next up, we do have a Predaplant Verte Anaconda. Once again, this was for the Thunder Dragon Fusion to get out the Battle Butler. This is the only reason we play the Verte Anaconda. As you saw, we clearly do not play the Dragoon package. So then we also have a Pranksters Ripper Roaster and an Apollosa as our Link 4s. I like the Apollosa as a backup plan because you do just turbo out so many materials. And if you need it to just be able to like play through your second turn, or like turn 4, I guess, turn 3 or 4, if you need that as a backup plan, it's there. If you can set it up turn 1 to 2 or 3 negates, great. It's a really good bonus. Ripper Roaster, of course, is your Harpy's Feather Duster for the deck, which is why you don't need to run either Raigeki or Harpy's Feather Duster in the deck, as well as Furin Kazan. So there you go, those are those options. And the last Link monster here is the 1 Link 5 Underworld Goddess of the Cursed World. This one also just showed up, and I think this is really good for prank kids. If you get the IP and you have just 2 other bodies sitting on field, then as soon as your opponent summons something, you can just link it off, get a Dark Ruler No More on them, and be able to have a Graveyard Disruption, or at least stop a Graveyard Special Summon, which right now is actually really relevant. I think people are really underrating this card, and it is way more useful than a lot of people expect it to be. So I'm going to play it, I'm going to test it, I'll let you guys know how it goes, like on Twitter or something. I think this is a really good card, but you guys test it and see how it is, because if nothing else, you can always link this on your turn too if you're going second, or if it's turn 3 and your opponent has stuff on field, you can link away one of their things, which I think is super cool. Say if they got a pesky Dragoon that you're dealing with, you've already baited out the negate. Just like, because obviously you have to build up to get into this, so if you've already gone through that and you can set this up, just go straight into it, get rid of that Dragoon, and you don't have to deal with it anymore, which is super awesome. So next up, onto the fusions. 2 copies of Rocket Ride, same thing as Doodle Doodle Doo. This guy is imperative, always run him at 2, like there's just no other way to go about it pretty much. And then 1 Weather Washer. This guy does come up actually, I don't use him very often, but there are plenty of situations in which he actually does come up and is relevant, so I do recommend at least running him at the 1 copy. And lastly, the 2 copies of Prank Kids Battle Butler, and yes, I will go into 2 copies of these on the same turn thanks to those Thunder Dragon fusions. If I end up opening up a Thunder Dragon fusion, and like, so I know it's a 3-card combo, but if you end up with a Prank Kids monster or access to one, a Parallel Exceed, and a Thunder Dragon fusion, it's game, because then you got double Battle Butler, you got Ripworm Roaster, probably whatever Link monsters you can get to. It's just insane. Like, this deck can establish some crazy boards, and you guys can definitely feel free to swap out like certain boss monsters. I've run plenty of other stuff in here before, like Boral Sword, Boral Load. You can run any of the Topologic package. You can swap out some of the boss monsters for Nightmare monsters, and then rely on your Prank Kids boss monsters themselves. That's totally fine. You guys prank how you want to prank, but this is the list I've been running, and I've been doing pretty good with it so far. Unfortunately, I don't have any locals, so I can't give you like any results there. I've just been playing online, and so far the deck has been performing pretty well. So you guys definitely let me know what you think down in the comments. I am very excited to hear your thoughts on the deck and see if you guys have been playing anything else in the deck, if you've had any other fun techs. I really think that Prank Kids just open themselves up to so many quirky techs with the way that they work and all of the things that they have in there, that it's just absolutely insane and fun to mess around with. So thank you guys for tuning in today. I really enjoyed making this deck profile, and I think the next one I'm going to be doing is my Orchist updated list, but it's going to be like a Scrap Machina PK Orchist. And it's also going to be like pre-Lightning Overdrive, so it's going to be a really interesting profile, but I think if you guys want to check it out, I do have this board right here that I actually established with that deck, so if that's any incentive for you to want to go check it out, then there you go. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for tuning in. I will catch you all in the next one. Remember to have fun and make your move. Peace out.
I'm a love giver.